Welcome to the So Much More podcast, where we talk with people in the custom window treatment, soft home furnishings industry, and so much more. I'm your host, Ciel DeGuglielmo. My guest on the podcast today is Anthony Del Rey. He is the owner of Motor Parts for Shades. He grew up in the family window treatment business and began installing shades in South Florida at 18, taking on his first motorized project soon after. And he tells the story of being asked to install motorization when he knew very little about it. Anthony opened his first Somfy account in 1986 and spent the 80s and 90s combining installation and fabrication, manufacturing roller and Roman shades until 2006. After moving to Bowling Green, Kentucky in 2007 and working briefly for a Memphis-based manufacturer, he founded Motor Parts for Shades in 2014 to support the custom workroom industry with motorization and automation solutions. I had the pleasure of meeting Anthony at the Custom Workroom Conference in September, and not only was he an absolute delight to get to know, but he gave away free bacon at the conference. I can absolutely say I have never come home from a conference with swag that I could cook and eat. When I get to talk with support businesses for our industry, I'm always intrigued to hear what they see in our industry. And it was just nice to hear Anthony's perception of our sharing and taking care of each other the same way that most of us do. And it was an absolute pleasure talking with him and getting to know him. So I really hope that you enjoy hearing from Anthony today. Anthony, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So I don't usually get to interview people who are not fabricating window treatments, but you are a really important part of our industry. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, where you are in the world, and what you do?
Well, Motor Parts for Shades is my company. And what we do and what we provide is motorization specifically tailored to the workroom trade, or as we like to call it, window treatment fabrication studios. So we're tailored and geared primarily to serving that part of the market and industry. We started doing this as far as selling to this part of the industry in 2017.
Okay.
We had begun serving workrooms and providing motorization when a lot of the workrooms that were around, even the commercial workrooms, weren't really providing it yet.
Right.
So it was something that just began to take off as far as that is concerned. But as far as me, I grew up in a family business, and I started doing installations in South Florida at the age of 18, and began to find work on my first motorized blinds right around that time. And opened up my first account with Somfy in 1986. Throughout the 80s, I combined fabrication and installation. And in 2007, I moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky. We closed and sold our business and moved to Bowling Green.
I'm sorry, how long were you part of the family business, Anthony?
So I grew up with my father in the business until he passed away in 1986. But at the age of 15, I would come home from school, 16, and go install blinds with my father. At 17, there'd be blinds in the van and go put them up. At the age of 18, I had my own van and I started installing. I still did work with my father, but I did a lot of installations, and that's how I encountered motorization. And one of the companies I was doing work for said to me that there was a friend of theirs that did motorized blinds was looking for an installer. And I went to see them and met them, and they said that they did verticals and draperies and some roller and Roman shades, motorized. I'd never touched one in my life. They asked me for a price, and I doubled my pricing. And they said they had 3 projects ready to install.
Oh, my goodness.
And so when I realized, oh, boy, I might want to do this. And it was something I've always tinkered. I've always taken things apart. When I was a kid, my parents would hide my toys or put my toys away that could be taken apart. And I was only allowed to play with them supervised, because at the age of 4, I'd go into the kitchen, grab a knife, and take the train apart just to see how it worked. No, I couldn't put it back together, but I did take it apart.
Did you want to put it back together, or was it more about figuring out how it was, what the parts were?
I think it was just curiosity.
Yeah.
I think that when a child has a mind to explore and do things, let them go, because that's how they discover. They learn by doing.
I definitely had a child that took things apart, and no, they never went back together again. She just wanted to see how they were made. That's all.
My dad had a train set, and until the age of, I had it for about a year. And one day my mother let me go, and I went in the kitchen. I had that locomotive taken apart, and these were tiny little screws.
Right.
I had a sharp knife that I was using because there was no screwdriver.
Of course.
So when I encountered my first problem with the motorized vertical, 1981, I called the shop, and he said to me, "I don't have time right now. Figure it out." And he hung up on me. So I took the track down, and I took it apart, and I figured it out. I found out these 2 little gears weren't working, and I replaced them. I went back to the shop, and I said to him, "Here, I need these gears." And he looked at me with this quizzical look on his face. "What are they? Where'd you get these?" I said, "You told me to figure it out. These are the parts that are broken."
And you only knew that because you took it apart.
I took it apart.
Yeah.
But this time I put it back together.
Oh, good.
My father had one golden rule when it came to going out and doing a job. It was come home with a check. Doesn't matter what you have to do, get the job done, come home with the check.
Okay.
And I've always make sure that you do it so that you get paid, and do the job right, you'll always get paid.
Right. So you were working for your dad, and you're doing some installations on the side. Did you ever think about doing anything else?
No, on the side, no. By the time I was 18, I had a van, a step van actually, with the sliding doors like a bread truck.
Yes.
And I was doing installations from Palm Beach to the Upper Keys.
Okay.
I would load up with hundreds of feet of, in that time, vertical blinds. Some drapery work, but a lot of vertical blinds.
Right.
And that's what I would install. It became my business. I did that 3 or 4 days a week. I didn't work in my father's business like that anymore.
Okay.
As far as making shades and things like that. We did a lot of, I probably worked 4 days a week installing.
Okay.
At that point. And then a lot of it became motorization. Within 3 months, I was building the vertical tracks in his shop and the drapery tracks and everything else. It's because I could build them. And just like now, I build all our tracks. All of our drapery tracks. I cut all of the material, and then I have some people assemble them, but I cut everything so that I maximize or minimize waste.
Okay. I'm curious, Anthony, about, motorization has just changed dramatically over the years. What's the biggest difference that you've seen?
Well, the advent of batteries. In 2018, the battery motors that were available from Somfy were archaic and only available in a couple of motors. Mm-hmm. And seeing battery motors take off, going back to 1981, you could get $2,000 for one motor on a shade, and it was loud, and it had a big wire hanging from it and a big box hanging from it that was the control. Right. And now you've got motors that depending on what you've got, if I stay within Somfy, it's still something that's selling for the $200 range at the wholesale market, $200 to $300 compared to $2,000 45 years ago.
Right.
So,
right.
And that was $2,000 in 1980, not adjusted for inflation.
Right.
So that was a considerable difference.
Right.
So the advent of battery, and then the advent of control and interface systems like Zigbee with Somfy, because that's taken the control capabilities to the next level with being able to, control it with all of your automation, anything from voice control to phone, app. You can open and close your shades from anywhere. That's all come a long way. And the price point on that and the functionality and reliability of it has changed dramatically as well.
As well as the quietness of the motors.
Oh, yeah. They keep getting quieter. They do. Like I said, the motors in 1985, those things sounded, if you had 4 shades going in a room at once, you couldn't have a conversation in the room.
You weren't sleeping through that, right?
No, you didn't need an alarm. When that shade opened up in the morning,
you'd wake everybody up.
You'd wake everybody up. Yes, you did.
So you're starting out as basically a teenager, and you're so busy because the work is there. At what point did you determine, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is my career, how do I grow this? Like what was the journey like for you in that part of it?
I don't think there was an aha moment at any point. I've always done this. I look back now and I think about how the generations today change careers, like, we change clothing styles or even change socks. Some people don't even last a year and they switch. So for me, it just was something I kept doing. In the 90s, I had a factory. I was making roller shades. Most 90%, 95% of what I was making was all solar shade fabric, sheer weave or mermaid, E-screen, just different solar shade fabrics. And we made roller and Roman shades. And the Roman shades we were able to at that time make very large scale. I mean, we consistently made 200-inch wide Roman shades for the condos in South Florida. And so that was something that we had. I had a factory for that. I had an entire workroom of equipment. I just never used it. Occasionally I would take on and make a fabric Roman shade for one of my workrooms that didn't want to make something, like a 140-inch by 130-inch velvet shade, and they didn't want to make it. So I would make it because I had the tabling for it. But we were 90% solar fabric. And we made a lot of shades and put a lot of motors in shades throughout the late 90s and 2000 till about 2006, when I geared things down and we moved.
Okay. Why Bowling Green? Why did you choose there?
It was stick a pin in the map type thing. We sold our house in 2007. The market was really horrible in South Florida. And we managed to sell our house, and then we packed everything and started driving around the middle of the country. I had no idea where I was going to live.
Oh, wow.
And we had a truck full of stuff, 3 kids, 2 cats, and a dog. And
wow.
We landed in Bowling Green 2 months later and decided that's where we were going to live.
Okay.
And,
well, it happens to be a beautiful place. I just wasn't sure what drew you there.
We just weren't, we started out in Crossville, Tennessee, and when we found out that the restaurants closed at 6:30 because the entire town closed at 6:30, it's a retirement place. We started coming west, and I didn't want to live in a city again. I lived in Miami for 35 years, and Bowling Green was a nice town, still is a nice town. I like the location. It's central. It's quiet, and I can ship pretty much anywhere in the country in 3 days.
Okay.
So, as far as a ship point, it's pretty central.
Okay. So I'm curious, Anthony, what have been some of the biggest challenges for you in running this particular business? I know you're geared towards the fabrication workroom and helping them to provide motorization for their clients. But what have been some of the biggest challenges for you?
So, inventory has been some.
Okay.
Price fluctuations, for whatever reason, pricing going up and down. Inventory is a challenge because we stock all of our raw goods and purchase it in bulk.
Okay.
So our tubes are white for the Roman kits, which keeps everything clean. Our clips are white, and so when we purchase that, we have to purchase it in a large volume in order to get it. Not even to get a price, just to get it, because you can't. I can't buy white tube and we have black drapery track. And we're the only ones that run black as stock for Gladiator drapery track. And so the challenge is keeping that inventory and keeping it, the cash for it, because it's, it's a considerable investment in inventory, but that allows me to be able to provide a little bit better level of service. And then labor can be a challenge, in this market, and it's very, very specialized
Right.
on the drapery track end, not on the Roman kit end. That's pretty much kits that are preset, so it's easy to send out.
Okay. And I know where your shop is a little bit rural, because I've seen pictures of the farm next door. So
what's funny is it's rural in the back. It's rural in the back. It's city in the front.
Oh my!
The main road that it's on.
Mullet.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's definitely a mullet. So the main road, Scottsville Road, is a main road, and it's right close to town. It just so happens that this vet that's next door has been there for 40 years.
Okay.
So everything has grown around that. And that road was built, I think, about 25 years ago. So they opened up at that location, but they were there with the property behind it. So they've always been there.
Okay. All right.
Everything's grown around it. But yes, I have horses and cows in the back. And today there were 6 horses, and they separated the baby.
Oh, okay.
It was in its own pen, but the mother was right in the next pen. I guess they're trying to get the horse to wean and to start grazing.
So you really do have the best of both worlds then. You can look out and see horses, and you can be close to the city.
Oh yeah, I can be where we're known as the city with more restaurants than people. Well, we're close on 65 to the halfway point between Chicago and cities to the south. So people stop and eat, and there's a lot of corporate restaurants, and that's all within 5 minutes of the shop.
Oh,
so
that's
rural,
awesome.
But everything's right there. And so's my house. It's only 6-minute drive.
Nice. So I'm curious, Anthony, if you weren't doing this as a career, what else would you be doing?
I have no clue.
That's what a lot of us say. This is what we were meant to be doing.
I can't see myself doing anything else. I mean, I've got some good jokes for it, but there's really nothing that I would do that would be different.
Okay.
I might go off into another realm of the same business.
Okay.
But if it involved working for somebody, that wouldn't last long.
Okay.
I don't.
A lot of us say that.
Yeah, I don't. I work at my pace and I work my way.
Okay.
And that's one of those things that when you, a lot of us in business for ourselves, We learn to do things our way, and it's difficult to adjust to go work for someone else. And I've done it.
Okay.
I've done it. I mean, I created a motor department in a company in Memphis in 3 years, but I was working for a paycheck. And if I had an idea and they didn't like it, it didn't happen.
Okay.
And that's difficult to swallow or to take when, okay, maybe you're not, but you know you're right. That's the other thing. Even if you're wrong, you know you're right.
Yeah, right. So, just can't make them understand that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, there's those conversations. Well, you got to stop pushing this. Okay. So,
yeah. So I always ask this question, did you ever consider quitting? But based on the answer you just gave me about what else would you be doing, do you have the option
to
quit?
I think I quit sometimes 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay.
But it really is one of those. I have a great comfort level, and when COVID came, it kind of made me work from home, and it kind of helped grow the business. And so the shop is great for going to build tracks, and I get out 2-3 days a week, 2 days a week, back and forth, and it's great for that. But I get to work from home, and it's very comfortable for me.
Okay.
I take tech support calls just much like this call, and I'll walk around, and I don't find it to be work.
Okay. I love that answer. So I'm very curious, based on that part of our conversation, how do you define success?
Waking up every morning. At this point, if you can wake up, and then at that point you can play the whole happy customers, steady growth,
right?
Things like that. But ultimately, at this point, it's just being able to be alive and to be able to do that. Take care of what you want to do.
Right.
Your family.
Right.
My kids, my family, and my work. And so, to me, that's success. If you'd asked me this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'd have given you numbers and growth potential and how much more can I grow my business? And a lot of times at this point, that almost seems unimportant. Okay. As long as you're able to continue to maintain and grow. Now, I've grown steadily. So have I had success? Yes, financial success. I believe so. But to me, it's being able to just continue to go and grow in all ways.
Right. Not just the numbers, but in all ways.
In all ways. Personally, everything else, because the numbers only mean so much.
Okay. So
it's back to the waking up every day.
Yeah. And I've started saying everything works and nothing hurts. So that's a good start to the day.
Yeah. And if it hurts, I woke up, I'm not going to complain.
Exactly. So based on that definition of success, what's been the greatest success in your business so far?
Oh, you're going to say in the business. Oh.
Yeah.
So for me, in the past 5 years, is being able to grow into a company and someone who's become reliable and well known for providing service and taking care of customers, establishing that reputation. That something that I'm proud of, and that to me is probably the best part, the most successful part.
Okay. So based on the way you answered the question with business, do you have a personal success that you're extremely proud of?
My kids.
Okay.
I mean, it's, they make me proud every day, even when they call me asking me for money.
Because they're still there, right? And they're still talking to you.
They're still there, and they're, it's good. It's money for good stuff.
Okay. I like that. The sponsors of the So Much More podcast allow me to bring guests to you each week. And without them, I couldn't do it. I'm pleased as the owner of the Curtains and Soft Furnishings Resource Library that I can use the library to help sponsor the podcast as well. The library hosts the industry's largest curated collection of educational resources for the custom home furnishings professional. Membership to the library gives you access to a wealth of downloadable reference materials, videos, live events, as well as a community of support to help you develop your design, sales, and fabrication skills, and to grow or start a business. Join the library today at csfrl.org. The Workroom channel is the premier online training provider for professional fabrication skills. Go to theworkroomchannel.com to browse the selection of anytime access courses created by industry experts. Watch detailed demonstration videos, download companion materials, and participate in private course discussion boards with your instructor and classmates from around the world. Start your course path today at theworkroomchannel.com. Education, networking, visibility, and industry discounts are just a few of the benefits that are offered to members of the Window Covering Association of America. The WCAA is the only national nonprofit trade association that's dedicated to the window coverings industry and the dealers, decorators, workrooms, designers, and installers that make up our membership. The library is a gold level sponsor of the WCAA. Join today at WCAA.org. WCAA, where you are never in business alone. Discover Klimaka Studios, where innovation meets exceptional design. Klimaka fabric and wallpaper collections are inspired by the original works of collaborating artists and developed with the understanding of how fabrics are manipulated into exquisite soft home furnishings. Workroom businesses enjoy exclusive access to engineered designs and best trade pricing. From clever layouts to classic linen prints, Klimaka Studios delivers the quality and consistency that your business demands. And Klimaka's reliable, on-time delivery keeps your projects running smoothly. Go to klimakastudios.com for swatches and trade account information. Klimaka Studios, for the joy and profit of workrooms. Anthony, mistakes happen in our business. Mistakes happen in life. I'm curious how you handle mistakes.
So for me, the law of averages helps a lot. Mm-hmm. When I first started doing the motors and Roman kits, I would question issues or so on and so forth, because it would take time and money to resolve an issue. But as I've grown it, our policy for taking care of mistakes is resolve the issue and then we'll figure it out later.
Okay.
Warranty issues, if a customer orders something and it's the wrong, they decide they ordered RTS radio kits instead of Zigbee kits, and they really needed Zigbee, and we'll swap it out. We'll work out the numbers, because ultimately the customer needs to be happy. And it's not just, I have to please three tiers of customers. I have to please my customer, which is the workroom, the installer, and the end user, because all of them have to be satisfied with my product.
Because all of them use your product.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's down the line. If the installer doesn't like working with it and they complain, then if the workroom finds it difficult or tedious to work with, then they won't buy it.
Okay.
It turns out when they install it that the customer doesn't like it, then they won't buy it. But we're for technical support and support throughout the process. We could spend an hour on the phone with someone getting some shades programmed to a hub because they're being tedious.
Right. So I'm curious, for someone who has grown their business, are you a book reader? Have you taken any courses on growing your business? Anything that you would recommend to other people?
I can't even listen to books because of my ADHD. If I read a book, I find didn't I read that sentence 12 times already?
Gotcha.
So I find it difficult to read. I absorb everything that I get. And for me, in the beginning, I used to just, back when I was young, I joked that I was going to name my company Fly by the Seat of Your Pants Incorporated. Because it was just hang on for the ride. Now I just, my biggest thing is keeping everything paid for. So all of my inventory is always paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I know what I have. And I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable and I don't have to worry about covering this bill or doing that. And I order my inventory in larger quantities. So that gives me a comfort level that I didn't have 5 or 8 years ago.
Okay. I just always like to ask that question because there are a lot of book readers that listen, but I'm also always intrigued by how people answer that question.
I don't read.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to, and then I tried the audiobooks, and I can't. I even try listening to like mystery podcasts and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and it's okay for background, but it just, for me, I my attention span is limited to what's in front of me.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. And it's funny because I know that my husband was never a reader, and he recently discovered audiobooks, and he absolutely loves them. But he did say sometimes he loses track of what he's listening to for the same reason. He's paying attention to what's in front of him.
Right. If I'm listening to it as a secondary thing, then, multitasking is not a thing for anybody with ADHD. You need to do each task individually. If you try to multitask, none of them get done.
Right. That's exactly right. So when I ask this next question, I'm often asking it of workrooms who are fabricating and making things by hand. Maybe they have they mostly have industrial sewing machines, but we do a lot of handwork, and technology isn't as necessary for some of us as it is for others. Your entire business revolves around technology. So I'm curious what your favorite technology is and what do you use the most of in your business, aside from putting together motorized parts for people.
So one of my favorite new technologies that I'm using is I have the Adobe suite.
Mm-hmm.
For video, InDesign, Adobe Express, which is great for Facebook, Reels. I like the technology because it lets me, I'm working on videos, I'm constantly working on them. And it lets me, do that, when you're talking about outside of the actual business. So anything to do with presentation, anything within that Adobe suite, I really enjoy.
Okay.
It's a technology. There's people that do that professionally, but for me, it's great for creating price lists and things like that. So while it's not directly for the technology in the business, it's technology that I use for the business.
I was going to say, but it is a technology and it's a good one.
Yeah. And at the same time, I struggle with it. So because it's something that, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so fortunately today you can do a lot of searches in Google and AI, and you can find what you're looking for. But sometimes I struggle to know how to do something within the program.
Right. And just when you get it down pat, they change it and update it.
Yeah. And you don't buy programs anymore. You rent them.
That is exactly right. Everything's in the cloud now.
$40 a month. So it's, $500 a year to use it. But it's really convenient. When you do like a Facebook reel, it automatically formats it to Facebook and Instagram and posts them.
Right.
So you don't have to go into Facebook or Instagram, and you can do all the editing and everything else. It's good for social media.
Okay. I have to look into that. I have not used it for that at all. I have some other things that I'm using, but I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Adobe Express is good. And the reason I went to Adobe is because Canva would not export to my printers. Not to the printers I have in the house, but like I would want to print a banner, and they wouldn't export in the right format.
Oh, okay.
So this exports in the right printing PDF. Canva doesn't do that.
Okay.
Or maybe it does not, but this was 3 years ago.
Right.
So I just went to the professional programs at that point.
Gotcha. So I'm always intrigued by the answer to this question, and it's different for each business owner. But what 3 business items could you not live without?
Items. So packing supplies, because everything's got to be packed to ship so it doesn't get damaged. Business software, going back to the other software.
Okay.
And probably, 3D printing. Couldn't live without it.
Okay.
Couldn't live without it.
What are you using it for?
So, for example, I mentioned black Glidea drapery track. Well, Somfy only makes the motor pulleys in bronze and white. So we 3D print a cover in black that goes over the motor pulleys. So when you hang the drapery rod, everything's black.
Oh, wow.
We're now on select metal fascia. So traditionally, when you do wood fascia, you could miter corners, but metal fascia, no.
Right.
Well, we now have 3D printed an insert that allows us to miter the select metal fascia, both inside and outside corners.
Oh, nice. That's the first time I've gotten 3D printer as an answer for sure. I get scissors, I get my phone. I have not gotten 3D printer before. I like that.
I wish I could figure out how to live without my phone. That would save me 5 hours a day.
Probably, but then not being able to communicate.
I wouldn't have any business, so.
I have a love-hate relationship with my phone too. Anthony, what do you do extremely well?
I have a very logical mind, so I'm really, really capable at figuring things out. Especially when dealing with situations like drapery rods that are wrapping around a room, and you're trying to figure out how big this one needs to be in the next one, and actually looking at it spatially in my brain and doing the math and being correct 95% of the time. I never get people call back and say, "Oh, that corner was calculated too short." Same thing with that corner, with that mitered return. I got a project right now with Select Metal Fascia that we're doing mitered corners because there's drapery tracks meeting at a 90-degree angle. So we're mitering the fascia so that there's no coupler.
Gotcha.
It'll just be an inside miter. So, those things, figuring things like that out. The reason I'm doing mitered returns is a customer 2 weeks before the CWC said, "Hey, I really don't like that corner piece that you're using. Can you miter that corner, the inside corner?" I said, "I can, but I don't have a way to hold it together." She says, "My installer will figure it out." So I did it for her. I sent her the rods, and when I finished the rods that day, I drove to my 3D guy and I said, "Hey, make me a piece to do this." So my brain said, "Well, this needs to be a thing." And so I named it after her. Her name is Rachel. So if you order an inside corner, you're ordering a Rachel.
I love that. That's great. All right, what do you not do so well?
Stay on task.
Okay.
Stay on task. I've got a pile of stuff to invoice that's a week old. I still haven't gotten invoice because things just keep coming up.
Okay. What about you would surprise people?
I got to laugh at this one. We had a little pre-conversation before this, but I was actually accepted to the seminary and was going to be a priest.
That surprises me after our conversation.
Yeah,
and we are all grateful that didn't turn out.
It was one of those things when I was young. I was raised in the Catholic Church, and I was actually accepted to the seminary. I had a full scholarship. And I just, as I turned 17 my senior year. I didn't turn 18 till after I graduated high school. And by the time I was 17, I realized, no, this is not what I want to do. Okay. But I thought about it.
Okay.
I thought about it.
And that is a calling. So if you are not experiencing that, then you made the right decision. But it did surprise me. Your answer did surprise me. What do you love best about this business?
So especially in the workroom side, is how workrooms share.
Okay.
Having been on both sides, because I've been retail, I sell some motors to some people who just make roller shades. So they're not a workroom. They're just buying motors for roller shades. And that part of the business, two things happens. First of all, it's a commodity, so it's very competitive.
Okay.
And so, everybody's competing on price. And quality isn't necessarily the most important thing.
Okay.
When you're dealing with the workroom industry, they share. It's not uncommon for someone to share information or project or even vendors and everything else, or accounts. See people posting, oh, I need this fabric from such and such, and does anybody know if there's stock and how much? And they tell them, and they say, the message after that is, if you need to order, let me know. You can order it on my account.
Right.
So everybody tries to be helpful. And while there's always going to be competition, when you're dealing with a custom product, like what the workroom industry does, it's different. It's not necessarily all about price. Not that it doesn't happen,
right?
But it's not always about who's got the best price. Most of my customers are quality workrooms, in the sense that all they do is high end work. It's not, and not to knock, but it's not like commercial workrooms where the shades are made a little more economically and don't necessarily meet the same quality standards that the higher end workrooms do. And when you go to the custom workroom conference, I consider everybody that was there to be a high end workroom, because they're there to learn, they're there to grow. They're not there to see how, I want to get this shade down to, half the price per square foot.
Right.
So that part of the industry is really, really good as far as my business is concerned.
It's interesting, Anthony, because you've used the word service twice, and you talked about this not being a commodity. And we've talked in different areas of the business. We are a service business, most of us. Yes, we are providing a high-end product, but for a lot of us, whether we're to the trade or retail, we are providing a service. If we're to the trade, we are taking a piece of the designer's outcome and handling it for them. And what you do is a huge service to workrooms, because so few of us have had the chance to be educated in the motorization that, yes, we're buying a product from you, but we need to know how to use it. And are we ordering the right thing, and all of that. So I think it's not only are we doing high-end work, but we're providing services for each other. And I think it feels to me less competitive.
It is. I mean, you might get some bigger markets where people are trying to compete for new accounts.
Right.
Maybe someone's trying to get an interior designer's an account and another workroom currently has them.
Right.
Well, there's going to be competition there, but I find that most high-end interior designers find a workroom that they love and stick with them.
Absolutely.
They're not interested in shopping around and things like that. But there are some that shop around, and that's why there's different levels of the market.
Absolutely.
But that's definitely something that I love is the sharing in the workroom part of the market.
What do you like least about this business?
For me, it's the clerical.
Okay.
So as far as the business itself, as far as customers and the day-to-day and everything else, that's for me, that all goes in the same. That's all comes back to the service. If you provide service, and if you're going to provide a service, then all of those other things are kind of unimportant as far as everything else. But what I like the least is the clerical and the having to do, paperwork and stuff like that. I'd rather do and provide tech support and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's not an uncommon answer in our industry. I think most of us don't like that part of it.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I did send you the questions ahead of time, and this is one I thought of today. So I'm throwing you something you weren't expecting. What do you wish more workrooms and designers knew about motorization?
Well, so, without going into marketing, I wish that they would try to understand what products are available and as far as the array of not just product, but different manufacturers of product and what's around in the history of motorization, in the sense that there are certain manufacturers and products that after 4 or 5 or 6 years will obsolete the line and then bring out new stuff. And then all of a sudden your old stuff isn't compatible with your new stuff. And so just being aware of what's available and what's there. And, and then some have a fear of motorization.
Definitely.
Which comes from the lack of information. I think it's an ignorance thing. I don't think it's just that they don't know. Right. They're unaware. They haven't tried it. That's why I try and put motorization in new people's hands as economically as possible.
Right.
So that they get that first one under their belt. Right. Get them comfortable with it. And then the other part that they fear is price. Mm-hmm. They fear that the price point is going to price them out. And I coach a couple of simple steps. Number one, up your price on the shade to help buffer some of the motor price. Okay. Number two, reduce the gap between your other lift options and motorization.
Ah, okay.
So cordless can be more tedious because you've got to adjust and readjust and so on and so forth. So if you're paying half the price for cordless of motorization, act like you're paying 75% and price your cordless closer to your motorization and you'll sell more motorization.
Okay.
Okay. And buffer it by increasing the price of your shade. Increase your square foot price or a per unit price. Throw a per unit dollar on there that helps buffer the motorization price. And I also am not a fan of it's difficult when you're trying to price a motorization option. But for example, you could say a rum and shade X by X is $1,000 cordless. And so the motor might cost you $200, but the fact is that you're charging more. You could say motorization's $1,200, and you have a couple hundred already in the cordless. So basically, you're still making a good profit because you're not using the cordless. Number one, number two, you're already got something in the shade.
Right.
Okay, and that gives you a little bit more of a buffer. Also, I would coach customers to offer motorization on every quote.
Even if they haven't asked for it.
Even if they haven't asked for it.
Okay.
Because you may get a designer to say, I didn't know you could motorize this, maybe in the next job.
Right.
You'll open their eyes up. They might not necessarily take it, or they might say, you know what? I want to motorize that one shade because it's going to be difficult to get to.
Mm-hmm. And
so, that's where you introduce that.
I love that idea. Anthony, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Still be doing this.
Okay.
I don't see, as long as I'm above ground, I'll still be doing this.
Okay. Well, that goes back to waking up every morning, right? That
goes up to waking up every morning. So I really don't see myself doing anything much different. Okay. I've geared this for this era of my life.
Well, and you had said to me, I think when we were speaking, that you stopped in doing the actual installations, and this is something that you could do for a long time.
Yeah, my shoulders were and still bother me, but they were bothering me for quite a while there. In about 2018, 19, I decided I needed to get off the ladder.
Yeah.
And stop installing. And at that point, I was installing exterior screens. Those suckers are heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So, Anthony, before I ask you the final question, you've mentioned doing Reels and Instagram. Are you on Facebook and Instagram?
Motor Parts for Shades.
Okay, I will put a link in the show notes so that everyone can find you.
Yeah, it's Motor Parts for Shades, Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone who's new in business or someone who's been in business for a while?
Business advice, motorization advice.
Whatever advice you want to give.
Well, and this fits for both. If you're going to sell the technologies, learn as much as you can about it. Find the information, learn about it. You don't have to become an electrician. You don't have to become a programmer. Mm-hmm. But learn what your systems are, what they're capable of doing, what you can do. Reach out to a resource. With us, you can reach out to me. I'm always going to give you information and share. But reach out to whoever supplies your motorization and make sure that they, give you as much knowledge as you can. So when you go to sell it, knowledge is the best sales tool that you can have. If you know your product, it's easy to sell.
Yes. And that's true of the window treatments that we sell, and especially the motorization. And you and I had a conversation. I sold a motorized job because my installer told me he knew how to install motorization. And I don't know whether he just misunderstood my question, but he had never installed motorization when I showed up. And so we quickly learned on YouTube how to get everything set up. And afterwards, I was like, well, I was sweating for a little bit there, but that wasn't so bad. I could do this again if I knew what I was doing ahead of time. So I agree. It really does make a big difference if you are prepared for it.
It does. It does. If you prepare and get the knowledge ahead of time, and if you can afford it, get yourself some working samples, something that you can work with so you can touch, feel, experience. It makes it easier to share. For workrooms, most of them end up putting a shade in their house. So I'm going to motorize this shade in my kitchen or the one in my bedroom or whatever. Right. And that gives them the opportunity to learn the product.
Right. And that counts as a workroom sample. So there you go.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's a sample for work. you definitely need it.
Anthony, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow, that's really good. We did that in 55 minutes. That's really good.
We did.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Anthony today. He has a great sense of humor and just such a calm demeanor. It was a pleasure talking with him and understanding a little bit more about his business. And it made me realize that for many of us in this industry, we really are problem solvers. And I love that with technology being what it is, we no longer have to wait for someone else to help solve our problems. Anthony found a problem and he had a 3D printer make it up, and now it's part of his product line. So I really do hope that you enjoyed hearing from him today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.